Hey everyone. So today what I'm going to be doing is actually setting up a Raspberry Pi device. I'm going to set it up with Raspberry Pi OS Lite, and then I'm going to connect to it from my Mac so that I can use this thing headless. Pretty quick process today, something a little bit different. If you don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, it's a single board computer, and it's used for so many different applications, from servers and IoT devices to robotics and even pen testing. It's fairly cheap, it's flexible, and it's a really awesome tool to learn with. So today we're going to just jump right into all the steps you need to set this up with Pi OS Lite and connect to it from your computer so that you can start. So obviously we're going to need the Raspberry Pi. We're going to need a micro SD card. Anything above 128 gigabytes is probably good, depending on what you're going to use it for. We're also going to need a card reader. I just have a Mac, so this is a USB-C card reader, but you can use whatever device you want. Then we'll just insert that micro SD card into the card reader here. And once we've done that, we're going to connect the card reader to your computer. So after you've got all of that set up, what you'll then need is to download the Raspberry Pi Imager. This software is available on raspberrypi.com/software. And it's the easiest way to actually install Raspberry Pi OS to any micro SD card. So whether you're on Windows or Mac, download it from this website and we'll get started in the next step. All right, so once you've downloaded and opened up the Raspberry Pi Imager, this is the screen that you will see here. Now, you'll choose the device. Hopefully you know which Raspberry Pi you have. Sometimes it's actually visible on the board itself. So mine says Raspberry Pi 5. So go ahead and pick the Raspberry Pi the device you have. Now the operating system, I want to go with Raspberry Pi Lite because I'm just going to connect to it via SSH, and I don't really need a desktop environment. If you do, you can download one of these with a desktop, but I'm going to go to Other, and I'm going to go to Raspberry Pi OS Lite. 64-bit, it's just the RAM capacity, so this is going to be what you're going to download for newer devices. If you have an older device like a Raspberry Pi 3 or older, you might want to do 32-bit. It can run faster on those older devices, but for us, we're going to do the 64-bit Raspberry Pi OS Lite. And then you just need to choose your storage device. So here's mine here that I inserted via the card reader. This is my micro SD. Don't worry if you bought like a 512 gigabyte micro SD and it's displaying a little bit different. It is the same device. Sometimes it can be lower, sometimes it can be higher. It's just basically a rounding. So once you've clicked all the correct device, operating system, and storage, you're going to click Next. And this part is really important if you are planning to use a headless Raspberry Pi and you don't actually want a desktop environment. This will save you having to connect a keyboard and monitor later. So you actually want to click Edit Settings here. So once you click on Edit Settings, it's going to open up this settings dialog box. And what you're going to want to do is you can set a host name. This is how you're going to find your Raspberry Pi device later on. You want to set a username and a password, and you want to configure your wireless LAN with the network name and your password. And once you've done those things, this is really important if you're going to connect to the Pi with SSH. You're going to want to do that here. So you want to enable SSH, use password authentication. This stuff is all okay. And once you enter all this, just click Save, and you should be ready to go. So once you've saved that, it'll ask you, would you like to apply OS customization settings? You'll click Yes. And all existing data on your SD card will be erased. So if you have anything on there, please remove it or back that up somehow, because this process will, it flashes the whole micro SD card, so it's going to get rid of everything. So yes, we'll continue with that. It'll ask maybe for your password if you're on a Mac. Just go ahead and add these things and then wait for it to continue. Okay, and after that, so you'll see it uploaded the OS and it verified it. Now it says it's been written to our micro SD card and we can remove it from the reader. Remove the micro SD from your card reader, and on your Raspberry Pi, the micro SD slot is actually on the bottom right here. So once you find that, go ahead and insert the micro SD card into your Raspberry Pi. One thing I forgot to mention is a power supply. Now I have the actual Raspberry Pi power supply, but anything with 5.1 volts should be okay with a USB-C. You can insert that power supply into the bottom left of your Pi. And once you do that, connect it. You should see a green light on it and we'll be ready to go. So once you've inserted the micro SD, you've connected your Pi to power supply, and you can actually see a green light on the Pi. What you're going to do is open up a terminal on your Mac, and we're going to try and send a ping request to the Raspberry Pi to see if it's online on our local network. So we're going to do ping raspberrypi.local. And as you can see there, it actually is responding to the ping request. It's sending us the IP and the time for each response. So let's cancel this. So the Pi is online. We have its IP address, and now we're going to try and connect to the Pi via SSH. So what we can do then is the command SSH. We can enter in our username. So mine was Duffisberg. Then you want to do at the IP address. So 192.168.2.75. We'll click enter. SSH normally does send you this authenticity of host can't be established. That just happens on the first attempt. So we'll just write in yes here and click enter. That'll add the localhost IP of our Pi to our list of known hosts. Then what you want to do is add in your password that you set in the configuration screen. All right, so now we have a secure shell connection to our Raspberry Pi, which is really cool. We're actually working on the Raspberry Pi right now. The operating system is Linux-based, so everything's going to happen in the terminal. If we want to find our working directory, we can do pwd. So we start off in home / your username. If you want to go up a couple levels and then print the files in there, you can see some of the core folders that come standard with Raspberry Pi OS Lite. From here, it's always a good idea to update the Pi once you get it started. So you can run sudo update and sudo upgrade. And this will actually go through everything on the Pi, make sure it's updated, make sure all the packages are up to date. So in the next video, I'm going to start doing some fun stuff. I'm going to turn this into like a network-wide ad blocker. I might host a small website right from the Pi itself with a server. And we can do a bunch more fun things with this Pi. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If this was helpful to you at all, you can hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.